my brother Charlie, your great uncle Charlie, and I were out in the front yard on the big house at Noella Drive, and we were doing something, playing or something like that. And you know, we could hear these explosions, and we could see stuff. We could see the smoke coming up from Pearl Harbor. In those days, there were no tall buildings in Honolulu at all, so you could see all the way out to Pearl Harbor from where we lived on the side of Diamond Head. And I remember seeing a plane going like this into the water. And, you know, they've been having maneuvers there for, you know, several months. So, you know, the Navy had been having ships out there, so we didn't think anything particular of it. Our next door neighbor, Mr. Purvis, Bob Purvis, was a reserve police officer, and so he apparently got a phone call. He came racing over to the house. He woke my dad up. At that time, he was vice president of Hawaiian Pineapple Company, and his first thought was the company. And so he got in his car and he raced down. This is in the direction of Pearl Harbor. He raced down till he got very close to Pearl Harbor, where the pineapple factory was, where they did all the canning and everything like that. And he got up on the roof and he looked out and he saw all this stuff that was going on. So anyway, it was an interesting day for us because, you know, war to an 8-year-old, as I was at that time, and we didn't have the kind of news that you have today, so you didn't see the kinds of things on TV or anything like that. War didn't really mean anything to us. So, you know, it was kind of, you know, something's going on, and the adults are all scared and they're all running around and everything like that. Well, my mother's up on the Big Island, and with Aunt Daw, and they had gone off wild boar hunting that morning. They'd gone with 2 cowboys, and they'd ridden horseback up into the forest. And, you know, sometime in the morning, a cowboy came clattering up behind them and said, Mrs. Well, you got to come home, something's happened. So they turned their horses around and they raced back, and they found out that, you know, we'd been attacked by the Japanese. And so, you know, Mother didn't know what to do. She tried telephoning, but all the circuits were cut off. The military had a priority over everything. So, you know, they were sitting up there, my aunt and my mother, and so Aunt Daw finally decided, well, what she ought to do was to send some cowboys on horseback down to the coastline, because their ranch ran all the way down to the ocean, and have them patrol on horseback. And all they had was 30 carbines. I mean, they were small rifles. They were just meant for hunting small game. But they went down there and they did that. And then my mother said to Aunt Daw, she said, well, what are we going to do? Are you just sitting here? And Aunt Daw said, well, she said, I think we should polish the silver, and then we will bury it. Because she said, I'll be damned if any Japanese general is going to eat with my silver. So I guess that's what they did. Anyway, you know, later that night back in Honolulu, I think they must have had some civil defense people organized before this started, because they came around and said, you have any lights on, you have to black your windows out. We can't show any lights because we want everything to be blacked out, so in case they send a bombing raid, they can't see anything. So, you know, we hung blankets over the windows and everything like that. And, you know, by that time, us kids thought it was great because we were having, everybody was running around having a great time, we thought. But then the fear of the adults began to filter down to us, and we began to get scared because we didn't know. We thought we might be invaded. So we got through the night all right and everything, and then they called off school. They didn't want all the kids, you know, to get together in one place. So for a couple of weeks we didn't have any school, and then after a couple of weeks they figured out that the teachers could hold class in their homes. And we had a teacher who didn't live too far from us, actually, down at the bottom of Noella Drive and down on the flats by Kapilani Park. And so we would go to school in the morning there until about, I don't know, sometime late in January. It was probably a month and a half before they finally let us get back together again in a whole school. But in the meantime, they built bomb shelters in the school playing ground. And they dug down about 4 feet, and then they built this structure, and they put the sod all on top of it and everything like that. And we had this little sort of cave to go into in case there was an air raid. So we were all issued, as small kids, like you, and we were younger than you guys right now. We were all issued gas masks. And we had this gas mask that you could put on. It had fit it over your face, and it had a canister under like a large soup can, through which you breathe and which filtered all the air out. I mean, it filtered the air so that it was okay when you breathed it. And so we were issued these gas masks, and we would have to take them to school. So, and in those days, Hanahaoli School that I went to from kindergarten through 6th grade didn't want you to wear shoes to school. Can you believe that? They said no shoes. But Mother insisted that
Why did they say that?
I don't know, because it was easier running in and out of class, and and it was Hawaii, and it was a nice. See, you don't have any shoes on now. So we would carry, going to school, we would carry our shoes and our little jacket if in case it might rain, and our gas mask. And you hung your gas mask over your shoulder, and then when we get to school, we get into the classroom, and everybody had a hook, and you hang your coat up, you put your shoes under the hook, you put your gas mask on the hook.
It's like American child doesn't know that something's going on. They fly over, and it's like I'm ready to go to school. I got my shoes off, my jacket, and my gas mask.
Well, we had to do that for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, 2.5 years, something like that, and then it was beyond we didn't have any problems anymore. But it was very scary in Hawaii from December 7th, because we didn't know. We thought the Japanese would invade, because the first time a convoy of ships got through from the mainland was about middle of January, so it was about a month after 6 weeks after we'd been attacked. And that was a great day to see these ships coming in, because we hadn't had any reinforcements, we hadn't had any food or any stuff shipped into the island. We had food, but I mean we hadn't had any stuff come from the mainland, which we needed. So that was my time in 1941. That's my story.